in epidemiologist and ABC News medical contributor Dr. John Brownstein for more on all of this. Dr. Brownstein, it seems like it's going to be hard for people to trust the Johnson & Johnson vaccine after all of this. So how do you inspire confidence in the shot? And are there certain people who should maybe stay away from it and get a different kind of vaccine?
Right. Good morning, Diane. We have to remember this is a really rare event. Only 15 patients were identified with this rare blood clot out of 7 million shots already given. We have to remember that is far less than the rare blood clots being experienced by people who actually had COVID itself, right? So there was an Oxford study that came out a couple weeks ago that showed that actually this rare clot was about 39 cases per million in those who had COVID. So far greater risk for you to get COVID than to get this shot. But more importantly, the pause wasn't because this vaccine is unsafe. The benefits clearly outweigh the risks. This was about the system working, making sure that we had safeguards in place. So people should feel very good that this pause took place to make sure we gave providers and patients all the right information. But we have enough information to move forward. There are millions of doses sitting on shelves ready to go out. It's a really small risk. And yes, people have choice. If they potentially are in a high-risk category, they can choose the other two vaccines that are also incredibly safe. So the success of this vaccine rollout really depends on proper education and communication, stepping up of the CDC and local public health to really explain the true benefits of these vaccines and the real low risk to the population.
Now, 5 million Americans have missed their second shots of the 2-dose vaccine. How is that affecting our push to get back to normal? Does that worry you?
Well, this is a striking headline for sure, right? And we've seen an increase in numbers of people that are missing that second dose. It was up from 3.4%, now it's to 8%. But that jump is to be expected. We had a ramp up in eligibility, more people getting the shot. So you expect that some people are going to miss it. There's a lot of reasons for that. Potentially people can't get the time off work, and that's why this J&J shot is so important. There could be some technical issues, like people getting the second dose somewhere else and the information systems not talking to each other. But there is a potential that there's some misinformation. People may not realize that the second shot is so important, or they may be nervous about symptoms. And this is why it's so important to educate people about why you need to get that second shot. Your protection goes from 50 to 60%, all the way up to over 90%. And this is, again, this important issue around targeted explanations to people about why this second shot is so important. And of course, with variants on the rise, getting that full protection is so critical to finally getting ourselves back to normal.
Now, according to a new ABC News Washington Post poll out this morning, 74% of Americans have either already received at least one dose, say they'll definitely get vaccinated, or say they'll probably get vaccinated. If all those people follow through, is that enough to reach herd immunity?
Yeah, it's going to be problematic, especially for different parts of this country. But let's look at the data right now. We're now starting to see infections go down below that 60,000 a day level. That's because these vaccines are working. They're getting out there. And we have about 42% of the population with one shot. In Israel, when we saw about the same levels of vaccinations, we started to see cases dropping dramatically. That should tell people that these vaccines are working, but we have to address this hesitancy issue. We do have large pockets of this country that are where people are concerned, and we have to address these concerns. We have to understand that people have worries about side effects, or they don't trust the vaccines, or they may not even see why it's valuable for them. And again, this gets back to combating this vaccine hesitancy, explaining the value of the vaccine, not only for yourself, but your community, how we're going to get the economy going again by everyone getting on board with this vaccine, and truly explaining that these vaccines are incredibly safe and so effective at really getting to the other end of this pandemic.
Now, Dr. Fauci says the CDC will likely issue some new outdoor mask guidance for fully vaccinated people soon. What do you expect to come of that? And do you think that could help motivate more people to get vaccinated?
We do have to arm everyone with the benefits of vaccines, and masking, removing those masks, I think is one of them for sure. We've learned a lot through this pandemic, and it's clear now, of course, that transmission really happens in tight spaces, usually indoors. 96% of transmission is happening inside. So it might be time to really start thinking about changing those CDC guidelines. Of course, there are situations in which you're tightly packed in large gatherings where masking is probably a good idea, or potentially if you're in a hot zone, right? If cases are surging, you may want to take that extra protection. But broadly in this country, I think outdoor masking is probably on its way out. I think CDC is going to give some important nuances around when you may want to put that mask on outside. But generally speaking, for living our normal day lives, we're taking walks, running, we got to get rid of these masks. And I do think it's an important sort of signal that we're towards that other end of this pandemic and, you know, that summer that we're all longing for.
We sure are. Dr. John Brownstein, always great to talk to you. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.